Pedro from A&P-Reacts. I'm here with the legendary Dani Filth of Cradle of Filth to talk about the latest record, Existence is Futile. How's it going with you?
Good, yeah, awesome.
Thank you for taking the time. And before we even talk about the record, I want to ask you about the North American tour that you guys embarked on at the same time as the album was coming out. How was it touring during this insane period of time in our lives?
It was difficult. I mean, just to get the visas was a mission in itself. We had to get a very special visa, like a VIP visa. We had to travel to Ireland to pick them up. We had to provide so much documentation, proof that we were, like, I don't know, making money for America, etc., etc. It was very difficult. And then obviously we had all the COVID protocols while we were over there. Very little people allowed backstage, everybody wearing masks, PCR tests in a load of venues. Yeah, I can't believe that we actually managed to dodge and swerve it all the way to the end. I think we were one of only 4 recent tours have actually made it unscathed. I mean, if you remember the Ginger tour that's just started a few weeks ago, they did about 3 shows, I believe, without a drummer. Without a drummer. That's to a backing track, obviously. But yeah, it was difficult, but it was great to be back out on the road. And the whole experience was amazing. Crowds are amazing. Obviously not as big as they usually are. And there were some occasions where I think there's like 1,200 tickets sold for somewhere and 200 people didn't show up. Whether they were, you know, infected or they're just like, you know, sod this. I like the idea, but now it's happening. I don't really want to mix with another 1,000 odd people. So yeah, I mean, aside from all that, it was great. It really was.
How was the reception from the fans to the new songs? Because you guys were on tour at the same time as the album was about to come out.
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, we've just played the 2 video songs, which obviously came out in the summer. And yeah, I mean, they loved it. We just did a special Halloween show at the London Roundhouse, very prestigious venue in the heart of London near Camden, and it was kind of an album launch thing. So we played 4 tracks, but yeah, people seemed very well attuned to them, like they knew them already, singing along and what have you.
So this is the band's 13th record. Are you a superstitious man?
No, 13 actually was my lucky number growing up.
So this is going to be
nothing wrong with me.
So this is going to be a lucky album for you then.
Well, hopefully, yes. Yeah.
Because of the pandemic, did you guys have a little bit more time or more freedom when it came to putting this record together in terms of ironing out all the details that you wanted this record to have on it?
Yes, I believe we did. We were very fortunate that we just ended 3 years of intense touring. I mean, we went everywhere. And we managed to write the record most of the record along the way, and finished it shortly after we stopped touring in November 2019, right at the beginning of November, actually. And we were even more fortunate that Marthas, our drummer, laid down the drums just before the lockdown happened. And the studio's quite close to where I live, so with the drums down and all the demos done, I was just able to sit there with the producer and just idle, you know. We were working like half days. We take it very easy. We didn't have any peer pressure. There was no record company or management breathing down our necks saying, "Oh, this is going to be finished in 2 weeks' time." Literally, nobody knew when lockdown was gonna finish. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Can I say that? Can I say it? Yeah, I don't know if this sort of setup would ever happen again, because if, you know, with all the will and want and money in the world, having, you know, 4 or 5 months completely free to just idly work on the record. I wouldn't say idly, work very hard on it. It just offered us the opportunity to reevaluate, reassess, and maybe rejig a couple of things. So yeah, it was a better scenario altogether. Yeah.
Considering how much you guys tour, when you're going into the studio, or when you're even starting your creative process behind Existence is Futile, do you think about how the songs are going to play out in a live setting, or doesn't play a role at all for you?
I don't think it really crosses our mind, to be honest. No, not really. No, we're not one of these bands that write solely for playing festivals. Because otherwise that would just be, you know, verse, chorus, and you'd have to make a chorus all, you know, fist pumping and yeah, we are metal, we're brothers, we're brethren, fight to the end, etc., etc. So, not really, no. I mean, we're known to be playing some, you know, Battery Area, for example, was almost 11 minutes long. So sometimes we play long songs, sometimes we play short songs. So I don't think that criteria comes into it. Maybe that's where we're going wrong.
I don't think you guys go wrong at all. I don't think you guys go wrong at all. The structure of this album is phenomenal. When I look at the way you guys balance out the record with the songs that you chose, with the length of the album, because it's a long album, I think that the combination of the length with the choice of songs is absolutely perfect. It makes the album actually feel shorter than what it is. How much effort and how much thought does it go into that?
Well, we've always been known for having interludes. I see them as like chapter, like bookends. And it kind of splits this album into 3 acts. Like a palate cleanser, you know, like having a bit of wasabi and ginger between meals.
That is the perfect solution for a record like this, you feel? Or is that something that, like you said, it's something that's part of the DNA now?
It just sets the mood. And we're a very sort of cinematic band. And we've been known for doing that sort of thing. Well, actually, saying that, we didn't do it on Cryptoriana. So we thought it was a nice return. And also it showcases the talent of our latest keyboardist, Annabelle.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about. How was her integration into the family?
Quite swift, actually. I did feel very sorry for her that she literally remained anonymous, and not the guy from Mayhem, but anonymous. For literally a year and a half, because there was no need to like say, "Oh look, this is Annabelle." We just left it until the live stream, which I believe was May the 22nd this year. So it was literally a year and a half, totally incognito. So yeah, I felt sorry for her during that time because she did contribute quite a bit to the record, despite the majority of it being written. I believe she wrote or co-wrote Discourse Between a Man and His Soul, obviously the instrumental tracks. Yeah, obviously she's quite close to where she lives in London, I live in East Anglia, a couple of hours drive. And so whereas everybody else is in lockdown, we were able to get her safely into the studio. And it also enabled us to experiment with stuff. She's very versatile. She's got great range in her singing voice. So we just experimented with some stuff a bit. And as you say, things got integrated that might not have worked on the album had we, you know, not had that chance to do it.
Did you have expectations with her coming in, or did you feel like she had expectations from you coming in?
God knows. I know that she was in my other band, Devilman, for a very short period of time. But within that short period of time, I realised she was the perfect replacement for Lindsay Schoolcraft.
The orchestrations on this album felt bigger to me. They were really perfectly weaved in the fabric of the sound. Is that something that she brought in, or is that something that you mentioned to her that you wanted the sound of this album to have that sort of feel?
I think it's a bit of both, really. The album has a very apocalyptic stance, and I think that was needed to be reflected in those pieces. And I also think that the exquisite mix by production by Scott Atkins really helped. He's very very hands-on. He's almost like a 7th member of the band. He doesn't play to he doesn't blow smoke up our asses either, which is great. You know, it's not like a Lars Ulrich thing. Yes, Lars, that snare sounds perfect. Play it for the whole album, please. It was that kind of scenario where, you know, he'll literally say, you know what, I don't think this is working, or you know what, that's shit. And he'd be like, fair enough. Yeah, it really pushes you, knows how to get the best out of definitely the vocalist, well, everybody in the band. So I think, yeah, the production in general made those, the way he sits and works everything out and really hammers at it. until he gets it perfect. I think that really helped the orchestral stuff as well.
You mentioned briefly the vocals. How was it for you, this record? Was it challenging? Was there some difficulties, or was it all smooth?
It's always challenging. It was challenging back in 1996. I'm now 48. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I feel like those challenges have become slightly easier now, though. Like you deliver an incredible performance on this album.
Well, we really want to try. I think that's privy to the fact that we spent 3 years on the road, so it kind of gets the memory muscles working and everything. And for the latter part of that, we were touring Cruelty and the Beast, which pulled my vocals all over the shop. Highs, lows, growls, narrative. But we also wanted to give a very live sound to the record. So we didn't want everything multifaceted and multi-layered, because, 2 very strong guitar parts or 4 strong guitar parts and 1 very strong vocal is a lot easier on the ear. It doesn't clutter the sound. And that's what we were trying to achieve on this. There's no point having 20 different keyboard things going on when you only can hear like 3 of them. All it's doing is just tiring people's ears out. And that may be one of the factors toward a long album sounding quite comfortably short, because by the time you get 3 chords, you're not going, oh my God, I've really got to turn it off now. My brain's fried. So yeah, we were just trying to go for a very natural sound anyway. People keep saying there's a lot of new wave of British heavy metal influences, and I think that's just a torch being passed down to us from the bands of yore. The Priests, the Maidens, the Saxons, the Thin Lizzies, etc. I think we're just carrying the torch on for where we might do a bit more extremely, but we're a British band after all, despite having 2 Czechs in the band. The Checkmates.
Was there a song on this record that took a little bit more of that extra time that you had during this pandemic to put the album together?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think The Dying of the Embers was a completely different song at the beginning of the studio. I think I have to go back and check the demos, but I remember like tracking it and going, you know what, I hate this fucking song. I really don't like it. And we really sat down and we worked some parts, changed the chorus. Yeah, we gave it some solid attention. And at one point, I really think that Scott also had his hands in his head and sort of went, or his head in his hands even, and said, you know what, I think this maybe shouldn't make the cut. But we persevered, and actually it turned out to be one of the better tracks on the album. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes something starts off and you just very, like, some things work and you know it from the moment go, that's Cradle of Filth song, that's going to make the record. And other things you really have to persevere with. But that's, that's songwriting, isn't it, I suppose?
Do you write specifically with a record in mind, or are you one of those guys that you're always writing and you have a little bit of a black book of lyrics that sometimes you have to pull from?
Oh no, yeah, definitely a black book of lyrics. Of lyrics, yes. Yeah, all the time, down ideas and what have you. Obviously, with the pandemic ongoing, we were, as a band, we managed to, I think, 9 or 10 other tracks that are in development. There's no point I know we held the album back by a year. I don't, because obviously we wanted to put it as close as damn it to a live scenario, and obviously nobody knew when that was actually going to come up. And we're very fortunate and grateful that we managed to tour the States and get a big show in London during such turbulent times. And even next year looks like, who knows what's going on. But with the new songs, I think we're going to do what most bands do. I always say that a debut album's the best album, or most concise and reflective of a band, is because they've had that material sitting around for ages. They've been gigging it a lot and what have you. And I think sitting on a bunch of songs and developing them, maybe coming back to them later, I think that will build a good follow-up to this record in God knows how many maybe next year, the year after, who knows?
One last question for you, Dani. After so many records, so many tours, so much success, what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated?
Well, we love what we do. We've got a great lineup at the moment. I love everybody in the band. You know, we're very good friends. We gel very well. We have an insane sense of humour. Our crew, the Cradle of Filth, we've got to a point where they've, you know, we've finally honed everybody. You know, I think there's six or seven, maybe 8, you know, because sometimes we have to replace a guitar tech because they, you know, they work for other people as well. So we've got a great crew around us, great team of people, great management company, and it just allows us to get on and do what we love doing, which is making metal music. At the end of the day, I know it sounds very simplistic, but at the end of that's exactly what we want to do. I love the everything that surrounds it, the imagery, the artwork, making videos, and these people allow us to get on and just do that. And yeah, and that's why I like it. And also for my second yacht.
I thought you were going to say purchase an island in the Caribbean, but
Yeah. Well, I've got to get there first.
you need the yacht to get there.
It's a yacht, yeah. Well, 2 in case the first one breaks down.
In case you have a Titanic moment. All right. I totally get you. Dani, thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate it. It was an absolute pleasure and honor to chat with you. You're an icon in the metal. So thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Cheerio. Bye.